What is up? What is going on, everybody? This is the Money Match Gaming Podcast. I am part of your co-host team, The Infinite, as it says below, aka Lance, aka the CEO of Money Match Gaming, and I'm here with my co-host, Dan Estrata,
Bang.
boy. What's up, man?
No, good. Sorry, I was loading up the thing on Twitch. Yeah, all's good. Oh, excuse me. Got a little gas thing coming up my esophagus. Okay, guys, what's up? Welcome to the Money Match Gaming Podcast Talk Show Extravaganza Spectacular. I'm just gonna leave it off there from now on. I can't come up with any other words that mean the same thing. I mean extravaganza, okay, but there's only a few more left on in the dictionary, so we'll just leave it at podcast extravaganza spectacular. But yeah, today we are talking about, as it says above us, we're talking about the movie Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is a movie that is kind of, I would say, divided opinions online, but not really, because I don't think it has divided so many opinions as like the fan reviews are really low, but if you actually read a lot of the fan reviews, it's just like toxic garbage that doesn't really count as a review. So yeah, but we'll get into our feelings on the movie too. But it is directed by Anna Boden, and Ryan Fleck is the I wanted to say what number in the MCU movies it is, but it's a lot. There's a lot of movies in the MCU now, and I'm not entirely sure. I think
The 21st.
Yeah, okay. I was going to guess right. Cool. Yes, the 21st movie in the MCU. It is the last movie before Avengers 4, and it is starring Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, Jude Law, and a cast of other people. But I felt like those three actors were really the main focuses of the movie. You want to give us a little description?
Sure. Okay, I'm going to read a little fluff information, but it's just a little. So, Captain Marvel is a 2019 American superhero film based on the Marvel cinematic character Carol Danvers. Yeah, produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. It is a 21st film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Set in 1995, the story follows Danvers as she becomes Captain Marvel after Earth is caught in the center of the galactic conflict between two alien worlds. Developed of the film began as early as May 2013 and officially announced October 2014. Making a Marvel Studios' first female-led superhero film. The story borrows elements from Roy Thomas' 1971 Kree Skrull War comic book storyline. The Captain Marvel has its world premiere in London, February 27th, blah, blah, blah.
That's about it.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. That's about it. So there was a little bit of filler, but that's basically the movie. So I started last time with my general thoughts of the movie. So if you wouldn't mind taking us away, Dan, and let us know what you think about the film, my friend.
I thought it was pretty good. I didn't think it was egregiously bad. I didn't think it was perfect, but I thought it was a pretty good Marvel movie, but pretty good movie in general. As far as Marvel movies go, it is probably in the top 10, but like we said, there's 21 of them. It's getting increasingly harder to rank them because they're like, a lot of them are all, I would say, of this quality. Like I would put this on like not top tier quality, but definitely high tier. But it's not the best movie ever. It takes a little bit to really get into, but I think it does like take its strides and end up being a pretty enjoyable movie. You?
In general, it was a decent origin story. Can't really say much other than that. I really think a lot of what you thought, that it's not a bad movie. It's just poorly timed in the chain of events that are actually going on and what's important to people in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. With the end game coming up and so on and so forth. So it was as Smurf predicted in a lot of ways, to where I feel like most people kind of got from that like they're expecting this massive clash. This is supposed to be the superhero or the Superman of the Marvel universe, from my understanding. And like, it's just one of those situations where I feel like, it's just not the best timed. If the movie came sooner, it'd be a lot better in the sense.
I agree, yeah, because it didn't really like further anything for the Avengers 4 plot, which is, the big sauce that people are looking for. It didn't really further that at all. Like, everything that happened, we pretty much knew, and she could have easily just been in Avengers 4 without a origin story till after. And I think if it was timed like that, where if it would have come out after Avengers 4, it wouldn't have hindered it too much.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you know much of Captain Marvel?
I know a little bit. Like I said, I know that she's kind of like the Superman of the Marvel universe, where she has like a lot of powers, is really strong. One of the few characters in comic books that have taken on and beaten Thanos one-on-one. But that's really all I know. Pretty much everything else I found out through this movie.
Well, and that in part is what I think the actual issue is I think most people don't really necessarily know who Captain Marvel is. So I think the movie was necessary. Mm-hmm. I just think it should come further, earlier in the timeline versus now. Now it's just like, it's like a small blimp on the radar. So if like we're talking about like a giant continent and everything's happened on the continent, like obviously everything else in the world matters, but this is like a small island off in the middle of nowhere that has no real relevance towards what's actually happening on this giant continent. And that's kind of how it feels to me.
I feel like she's going to be a very, very large part of the next movie, which is why they felt the need to do this now. And there was no real place to fit her in earlier, I guess. Like, I mean, I guess they could have had this movie done like two sets of seasons ago or whatever, and then not have her come back till the Avengers. But this way, I think it was a little bit easier to digest her like appearance in the Avengers, I guess, to some extent. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting, like you said. Nothing about it is like sets up a whole new. Because right now, this is all the trip leading to Avengers Endgame, where you imagine the good guys are going to beat Thanos and all the dead good guys are going to be brought back. But nothing in this movie really set anything from that movie up, other than for the fact that, okay, Captain Marvel is now with the Avengers and is going to be part of that team. It alludes to other stuff, probably past Avengers 4, which I'll get into when we talk about it more. But I don't think it does anything to set up things that are going to happen in the next movie. Unless, maybe like characters like Goose makes a comeback and has a large role or a large part of what happens in Avengers 4, or, like we said, I think she's going to be a big part in the movie, so.
Yeah, I agree with you, Casual. Like, if this would have came out during the Iron Man movies, this movie would have been a lot better, and it's just one of those things that it's just like.
No, he's saying that she would have forgotten. He's saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He says that he likes it better now.
Okay, yeah. I did miss.
And I agree. I agree with him. If it would have come out too early, people would have forgotten about this character, and she would have come back in the Avengers, and they'd be like, whatever. Like, it was still, like I said, it's a great movie. Well, not great, but I mean, it is pretty great. It's not bad. It's a very good movie.
It's not bad. It's not great, but it's
I
not
liked
bad.
it. I liked it a lot. Like I said, I put it above a lot of the other Marvel movies.
Yeah, and I agree with Smurf there. It would have been a lot better if she would have just been like, "Oh yeah, Captain Marvel's in the squad." Like, I don't think that's actually like a real big deal to me in that sense. To where it's just one of those things that I just honestly like. It should have came sooner. It would have just worked better for the universe. It would have worked better for the situation, and like. We're kind of beating it to death a little bit. I'm just trying to, interact with chat and everything like that. But, it wouldn't have been a bad thing. It wouldn't have been a bad thing. It just wouldn't have. And as far as what you said about like how it connects and what elements of the movie, like might play into it, at the very least, this is one of my pros for the movie. It gave us a lot more information about Nick Fury. Like, like as the universe starts to build and all these different things start to happen, I really enjoy the backstory of Nick.
Yeah. Oh, and
Like
just
Fury.
the fact that what they did to him with CGI or whatever to make him look like he was 30 years younger was really incredible. Like, it did not look like current day Samuel L. Jackson was playing that role. It looked like Samuel L. Jackson of the 80s and 90s was playing that role, and that was really, really impressive.
And I did like seeing Clausen. I was kind of hoping we would have got more than what we got of him in the movie, but it was nice. It was a little flavor, and I enjoyed that. But like the whole Nick Fury thing, I think is really nice. Hopefully, his eye isn't just scratched, and there's more to that scratch.
No, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah,
he was just scratched.
It was that's what happened. That's why he was picking out fake eyes in the end.
Oh, that sucks, man. I thought they were like alluding to like, because like I know it like kind of boosted Clausen in the books, in the comic books, and things that Coulson, sorry, in the books and stuff, because he was such a popular character, and they started kind of giving him a different role than what he was originally designed to be in the movie, just because people liked him so much. And I was kind of hoping that might be what happened with his eye, just because when he got scratched in his eye, and then like people in the plane were like, "Oh, is that all that happened?" And then the alien dude, I can never remember his name, the main
Skrull.
Yeah, Skrull.
Yeah, I don't remember what his name was either, but I know who you're talking about.
And he like shook his head no, like that's not it. And they were kind of talking about this animal's not what you think it is the entire movie. So I don't know. I'm like hoping for more, although that's just hope.
Yeah,
but I thought that was a great part of the movie.
You're not gonna. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get any more of what happened to his, because that is what happened to his eye. That's why he was picking out like the fake eyes and whatnot. But like Smurf said, he was scratched by Goose, who, as we watch the movie, we find out is a lot more than just a regular house cat. So,
indeed. Any pros from you?
Oh, pros? All right, yeah.
Go back and forth a little bit.
Got a bunch of pros. Okay, so I like the music in the movie. I'm a big fan of like 90s rock music, so when they were doing that fight scene at the end and Just a Girl by No Doubt started playing, I like geeked out. I was like, yes, this is it. I'm ready, because I love that song. I love No Doubt. So I thought that was really cool. I also like the incorporation of all the band T-shirts. I thought that was fun. Like, she had a Heart T-shirt, Nine Inch Nails T-shirt. Earlier on, she had a Guns N' Roses T-shirt, like in the flashbacks and stuff. I thought all that was cool. Although the music and the shirts kind of worked, a lot of the setting didn't. It was hard to tell that you were in the 90s. It didn't really give off a very 90s-y vibe a lot of the times, but that's besides the point. I thought, and this ties into my cons as well. I'll save that one for later. I thought the movie it ties in well with the rest of the story. I know you were saying it would have worked better earlier, but I thought it tied in pretty well with the rest of the story. I also like how they set up Monica, who was her friend's daughter. I can't remember what her friend's name is right now, but I looked it up, and because I was like, this character seems like it's going to have more significance, because when you fast forward to current day, that movie, that character is going to be 20 years older, and that character in the comic books does end up taking the mantle of Captain Marvel later on in a different like set of stories. So I thought that was a cool little tie-in, nod, and perhaps maybe even foreshadowing the fact that maybe Carol Danvers might not make it out of the Avengers, and maybe if we do get another Captain Marvel, it's going to be Monica. So that would be kind of cool.
I think that would suck.
Like, what?
I think that would suck.
Why?
It's too soon, man. We just got her, and I actually like her as a character.
Right. I mean, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be immediate. It just plants that seed of doubt, It plants that seed of, oh man, maybe this can happen. So not everything is super predictable, but also it adds to that, like, they have a way out if need be. If for some reason either Brie Larson doesn't want to do these movies anymore, or they don't want to use her as Captain Marvel anymore and they want to take it in a different direction, they have this other character that they have already set up in their universe, which I'm a big fan of when things do that. And then the last thing I have is that Goose is just really awesome. They did a really good job with Goose, and I thought that was a very, very fun character.
That's decent, Smurf. That's decent. Although like, my next pro for this character is I actually liked this whole. These movies are tricky for me because it's real easy for them to go down this route of like super girl power, and it's not that I don't support women. Please don't take it there. It's just like they can really lay it on you in a very unflattering way, and this movie kind of didn't do that, which is why I wanted to kind of give it praise. It's like it's by easily the best the best Supergirl. See, I'm messing. Girl superhero movie to date. I think that's easy for me to where it's like out of all the girls that I can think of and all the movies that have come out just recently or in the past, this feels very natural. And out of the movies that we've watched in general about girls that are strong, this one did not give that taste in my mouth. It could have been a man in that suit, it could have been a woman in that suit, and I would have been okay with it. And that's the way the movie feels, because that's how it's supposed to feel. Women are powerful, they can do things, and it's okay for them to be powerful. And this movie doesn't give you that like, oh, she's a girl and now she's strong, and then they have this like touch of like flavor of like, oh well, she's still a girl. So what was the last movie we watched? It was about the spy. She's blonde hair.
Wait. Oh, you're talking about Atomic Blonde?
Atomic Blonde. To where like I think that was the last one we watched that I feel like falls under that category. And there was like several scenes in the movie to where she's supposed to be this like super badass, and then all of a sudden, like it feels like the script like kind of changes a little bit, and so like it just Honestly, it makes me worry for Black Widow movie, though. I have to compare it to... I think Black Widow will be good, especially if they follow this formula,
It's... I don't know, like, how Black Widow will be, because I don't know what... Is it going to be an origin story for Black Widow, or is it just going to be, like, telling in-between story? Because, like, that's a character that, if they were going to make a movie on, probably they should have done that one a long time ago. She's already been in all the dang movies. She's been around forever. It feels like kind of a cop-out to like just give her a movie now, in my opinion. I mean, if they are making that, that's cool. Like, I'll watch it because I'm already fully invested in these stupid movies. But I like them. I call them stupid movies, but I like them all. But like, I'm 21 deep. I can't quit now. But yeah. So like, I don't know. I don't think that she really needs a movie at this point, but that would be cool, I guess, to learn more about her, especially if, once again, she has a big role in the Avengers. A lot of what I think is going to happen in the future for these movies is whoever makes a big splash in this next movie,
I kind of agree with Smurf. I think the origin story should be a movie, and then missions or just like side things should be a TV show. I like that idea.
I would be completely fine with the origin story being a TV show. I would totally watch a Black Widow TV show.
It's not like...
I don't think that they want to connect TV shows and the movie universe together, which is why it hasn't been and probably will not be any appearance of the Defenders in anything that they've already released and are going to release in the future.
That makes sense too. But I mean, it's just... They obviously can make a lot of money on it. I guess it just depends on where they want to go. I think they should definitely focus on Endgame first, and then kind of see where it goes after that.
Well, Endgame's already been done. Endgame's been done for like 3 years.
Well, I'm just saying, till the movie's over and we get the big shebang, and then probably get off some of these like side quests. Is the way I put them, And then he mentioned the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well. So that's true.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does... Well... They don't ever really mention Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the show, in the movies. I mean, obviously S.H.I.E.L.D. is a thing in the movies, but they never talk about any details from that show. But they do talk about details from the movies in the shows. And they did that with the Netflix shows too. Like, they talked about the things that happened in New York and stuff like that, but they never referred to it in great detail. Or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a little different. They did refer to it in more detail there. But yeah, it was like one-sided. The only thing that crossed over between the two was Coulson. But yeah, so I mean that's what I had for pros. Do you have anything
No, that was kind of it for pros, and then like we're gonna get into it, I'm sure here, but I'll go ahead and give you a con. Is I think they went a little too soft on her origin story. I don't feel like I got a whole lot of origin. Like,
well, because I get that. That's also like the storytelling technique they used in this movie, where it was like she didn't have any memories, so you didn't have anything to go about, and then she kind of regained all her memories like this, and we didn't get a lot of understanding of all the little pieces we got throughout the story. It didn't really click super well, so I'll definitely give you that, because we got her origin to becoming Captain Marvel. We didn't get her
Captain
origin
Marvel,
to where she led up to, like, her as Carol Danvers. We got very little bit of that story.
right? And like I just have a small problem with it because like being so unfamiliar with Captain Marvel, I thought I was gonna get some insight. Like I still don't even know what her powers are. I was like planning to look it up, but busy at work and everything like that, and so I was like, oh, maybe Dan will enlighten me a little bit, to where it's like I don't know anything about her. I know she shoots glowy things from her hands. I imagine she's somewhat invulnerable.
Energy based. She's not invulnerable as much as she's just really strong. Because like as you see there, like she can take a bit of a beating until she kind of like went all out with her powers. But I don't think she's invulnerable. I think she's just very strong, and she's got a lot of energy based attacks. That's like her main power, is using that cosmic energy.
I mean, she's got to be a little durable. She is flying through ships.
Well, right, yeah. She's obviously more durable than a human, but a lot of that is just how strong she is, that she can punch through the ships more so than she's just like walking chest out and she's just like, nothing can harm me. Like, shoot a bullet at me, I'll just walk through it. It's more like using the energy to kind of surround her body and charge through type deal.
Right. So that's like the biggest thing. Like, obviously her powers connected to the Tesseract, a power stone, which is cool.
But... As a heads up, you're low voice again.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. We'll just have to. I don't know what's causing it. I'm at this point.
That's fine. Like I said, we've talked about this before. I am a big fan of low voice. I think it sounds great. It adds an extra like dark undertone. I like it. It's nice and smooth. I'm into low voice, Lance, but just had to let you know it was happening.
All right, I got you. But like that, I don't know, man. I just wanted more than that. I didn't want to walk out the movie like, man, I still don't know a damn thing about Captain Marvel other than she's a girl. She used to be a pilot, and there's these things called the Care civilization or Kree civilization, and that was kind of cool. But they don't even give you very much information
we were
about
already
that.
Familiar with.
Well, I was hoping they would give me more because I'm kind of familiar, but not really familiar.
I mean,
and I felt like
they're already.
This was
what
the
I meant
connection.
by that is they're already in the cinematic universe with the Guardians. But if to use that movie as kind of an example, they didn't really delve much into Peter Quill in that movie until the second one. So maybe we'll get more about Carol Danvers in future Captain Marvels, if they choose to do future Captain Marvels, which I imagine they will, because this one has made a buttload of money so far.
Yeah, like I was surprised that it was pretty full.
I went Sunday, like yesterday at like 3:00, and I was like, all right, and there was like 4 seats open. Like that's it. Everything else was completely filled. This was a big theater, and I was like, oh, all right.
I went at 11:30. And I was like, buy my ticket. And she's like, yeah, it's assigned seating, Here are your options. And I was like, what? I was like, yeah, that's kind of insane. And she looked at me and she was like, yeah, I really wasn't expecting it to sell this well. But it's selling really, really well. Yeah, and I was like,
crazy. Which is good. Which is awesome. Like, really, really happy for the movie getting all this success with how much, like, hate it got, I think, unwarrantedly before it even came out. But that's because, that's neither here nor there.
But that was just, I don't know. I took it back from that. But yeah, as Casual Ham said, I definitely wish they would have incorporated more of that. Because I don't know. I'm just kind of I leave the movie and I just have more questions, and that's fine if there's a guaranteed series. There's a number 2. Just wait for it. That's fine. Then I'm like, oh dang, I have so many questions. I can't wait till the next one comes out. But when they just release a movie and be like, I don't know, we may do it, we may not. And,
well, that's the thing. Well, they haven't. There's only one movie, or I guess 2 movies that have been announced for post, like confirmed announced for post Infinity War. I think part of that was, to kind of keep a secret who makes it in and who makes it out of the movie. If you release the next 10 years of movie schedule, you're like, oh, all right, well, so I imagine this guy doesn't end up dying again. And they kind of screwed up with that with Spider-Man, but I think that was more so the fact that Spider-Man things just kind of kept leaking, and they, like, everybody knew it was existing, so they're just like, fine, here, have a trailer, whatever, just ruin everything. And I love Spider-Man, so I honestly didn't mind, and I expected him to come back, but I think that's kind of the reason we don't know what has a sequel and what's still coming out in the future. Like, they haven't even officially announced a Black Panther 2, and you're crazy if you don't think they're making a Black Panther 2. There's just so much. There's just so much there. So much money to be made.
Yeah. I see that. But
I understand what you're saying, though, because they didn't. Like, I agree with you. They didn't fully flesh out that character. Like, they did to some extent, but most of it was, like, her just gaining all her memories back, and then us to be like, yeah, but what are those memories, though? Please tell us. And she's like, I gotta fight the Kree. All right. I guess we'll find out.
Maybe. Eventually.
Guess we'll find out later.
It's like, you just have to, like, chalk it up. And again, it's fine. It's just, as the kind of guy I am and the things that I like, I don't want to leave the movie like, okay, Captain Marvel, great, thumbs up, and then like that's that. Like I'm pretty sure you're pretty much done talking about the movie. I'm pretty close to. I have like one more thing that I want to bring up, and that's
just reading Ham's response. What did it say? It said something about Peter and MJ.
Said, I'm excited for more Spider-Man. Not sure how I feel about the potential Peter-MJ relationship, but the movies are always a fun time.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing it a little bit differently with because I guess Zendaya's character, which I forget what her name was in Homecoming, but it wasn't Mary Jane, but she said that people call her MJ. Kind of alluded that she's going to be like the Mary Jane-esque character in the new Spider-Man movies, but I'm not entirely sure. Far From Home looks good, and I mean, it'll be hard to top what, in my opinion, the best Spider-Man movie, Into the Spider-Verse, which we'll talk more about that next week, hint, hint. But I adore that movie with all my heart.
I haven't heard a bad thing about it.
I was actually thinking about it this past week. We were talking about like favorite movies with my buddy, and I was like, "Oh man, Into the Spider-Verse actually cracks the top 3 for me," and that's pretty cool. But let's not talk about Into the Spider-Verse. I'll gush over that. You guys can listen to it next week. It'll just be me being like, "And this part was awesome, and this part was great, and the background was so cool," and shit like that. So, but what do you have anything else for cons?
It just goes a little bit more into the timing of the movie. And again, like, I feel like we might have been able to fit another movie in between this and Endgame. That's just me personally. Obviously, yes, because it's like a large gap in there.
Right? Yeah. Well, because this is a flashback, so this even happens before like anything else. I mean, towards the end, you're like, you see what's his name, Nick Fury typing on the computer, and he's like the something
Protection Force. And then he calls in Avenger Force, basically.
No, it's the Protector. Yeah, the Protector Initiative. Yeah. And then he sees that her plane's named the Avengers. He's like, "Oh, the Avengers Initiative."
Right.
Dude, old one-finger typos like the 90s.
Right. And so it's like one of those situations to where I'm like, man, actually, it would have been nice to get another one in between this and really flesh out a character. And that's just me. Yeah. Maybe it's just me. I don't know, man. It's just, to me, wasn't much of a movie. I get what you're saying.
I don't disagree, but I also understand its placement and its timing. Like, I agree that it could have been built upon further. I agree that I would also like a second one of these to build the character more, but I get with the timing and all. I mean, like we said, this is the 21st movie. There are so many stupid characters in this next movie. It's going to be ridiculous. There's so many people against one guy. How's Thanos supposed to win? Who knows? He won the first time, so they just added a couple new guys. They're like, hey, we got this Wasp over here, and Ant-Man's going to come with us, and Hawkeye is going to shoot our bows this time. He was too busy watching his kids last time, but I imagine his kids are dust now. Because that's just kind of what happens. And, yeah. He's like, oh, who's this bow guy you got now? Like, oh, that's Hawkeye. He was there, but you dusted his kids. He's like, oh, shoot.
Dang it. That's like, you said that in such a nice way, but it was so savage. And that's why I laughed. I was like, goodness gracious, man. And he just dusted his kids. They're done. They're finished.
That's what happens, dude. That was everybody's dust. Yeah, so the only con I had, and it's a con that leads to a pro, which is why I was going to say it in pro and then I didn't. But the beginning of the movie, I did not like Brie Larson's performance. And this is coming, like, I'm a big Brie Larson fan. I have enjoyed her work since she was an auxiliary character who dated Abed on Community. I was a big fan of her as Envy in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Room is great. Obviously, she won an Academy Award for it. I think she's a very, very good actress. I thought she was super boring and uninteresting for like the first 30 minutes of this movie. But then the relationship and the dynamic with Nick Fury started occurring. And man, they had such good chemistry going back and forth off of each other that it completely changed my opinion on the character and her in general, like her acting in this movie in general, because I thought she did a very, 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 very much better job after they started kind of vibing.
I think that's
I don't know if you
intentional,
felt
though.
that at all.
Well, no, I feel like it's intentional. I think that's a design situation. That's by design.
That could possibly be true, but even like at the beginning, Jude Law's like, "You always were a Joker," and she like said some kind of like cheesy one-liner, and I was like, "Whoa, that one was egregiously bad. Like that has no business being here." Like usually these one-liners are like kind of like hee hee hee, like that was funny, but she said something, and I was like, stop that. Don't do that again. You're not funny anymore.
like sure.
But then she picked it up. She saved it because everything else in the movie was good.
Well, yeah, and I can agree with that part because like I didn't even notice there were jokes. So that's how bad they were.
There were jokes early in the movie.
I didn't even realize they were jokes. So I'll give you that. But at the same time, it's by design. It's by design.
Right.
I'm
I think so
that
too.
Did that on purpose.
Like when you said that, I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
She's not supposed to connect with the evil of the universe. Like her very nature is justice and justice all around me. I'm a rebel and I'm gonna be my own human being type of thing, you know. And so, like, of course, she's not gonna mesh well with a dictator of some kind, you know. And he's like manipulating her the entire time. So it's like one of those situations where I 100%. Yeah, but you know, like how funny
maybe
can
subconsciously she knows.
How funny can you be with like the thuggest of the dog who, yeah, that, and then like the person you're dealing with isn't really gonna. I think comedy needs give and take, and I don't think he's.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
It needs give and take, and it's like he's not.
And that's why I think the chemistry between her and Fury was just so good.
Right, because he's giving, and you kind of get that relationship.
They do it both. They do it both ways. They that was a good comedy duo. Like. That made me believe that those two people were are now, at least if they weren't before filming that movie, like they're genuine friends now because they came out, they had such good like back and forth with them. Not even just the dialogue, just like the mannerisms and everything. They had a very good chemistry in that movie.
Okay, so real quick, this is like kind of off the cuff, but one thing that kind of flashed over me, and I kind of want to see kind of where you are and what you think and stuff. There were like small, like picture perfect frames in the movie that I really, really enjoyed. An example would be when she falls into the blockbuster and the security guard's like kind of sitting there and he's like, bewildered. And he's like, she's kind of hot, but he's like, I don't know what just happened.
Yeah.
let me just sit and wait, and then he kind of waited all day. He casually called the cops really late.
Just hello.
And then, they kind of come up and she's like, yeah, I'm an alien looking for these different people that shapeshift and everything. And he's like, oh, really, really funny. And then she sees one because bullet comes flying by, and she shoots energy from her fists, and he's like, this is real. Like, I love that. That scene to me was so picture perfect. I don't think you could act better in that situation. That felt natural to me, and it never really even crossed my mind like that was not real. Yeah, in a sense.
Yeah. I agree. I definitely agree with that as well. Oh, but you did remind me of one thing that I forgot, and it's a little bit of it's not really a plot hole, but it kind of confused me. I didn't think about it. I forgot to write it down. But so Nick Fury had the boss, right? And the boss, a Skrull was shape-shifting to pretend to be the boss. And, he found that out when they were in the elevator together, and he was like, it was great, our mission in Havana or whatever. Like that, and then it ended up becoming their little one-liner with each other when they were friends. But what happened to the actual boss?
He's still around. He didn't die.
Right. But I know, because shapeshifters don't, all they do is take the form. They don't kill the person or anything like that. But why is this guy not showing up to work? How are they not crossing paths up to this point?
I guess it is kind of glossed over, but I think you're supposed to assume that when they're in the autopsy room, he's sitting there in front of them and he's like, work by yourself. Keep this under wraps. Don't let anybody know. And that's how he kept the situation isolated. And then from that point, he just manipulated the people around him because he is the boss and he has his thoughts. And that's
right. Like, I understand how the Skrull got there. What I just want to know is what is the boss doing that, like, nobody's thinking to be like, hey, you need, like, how are they contacting the Skrull and not contacting the actual dude who's supposed to be there? That's all I want to know. I want to know where that guy actually is, because he just wasn't there. He wasn't at work. Nobody contacted him about anything. He didn't show up. The only time we ever see the boss, it was the Skrull being the boss.
So you don't necessarily see him giving super overarching commands. You see him in small groups. So if I am in a small group and my boss walks into my office and I go, hey, you 3 or 4 people, come here. Wait, he could have been unconscious and tied up, shoved in the closet. Yeah, I don't think he went that far. I
don't think he went that far either, but I want to know, like, I just want to know where he was. I just want to, just a little scene to being like, man, you will not believe these 3 days I had. And I'm like, oh no, believe us. We got the aliens here who were pretending to be you. We know it.
That would have been a good scene. I agree with that. I guess I'm giving him too much credit because I was thinking that.
Right, I just wanted to know, like, I mean, it doesn't even have to be that he was doing anything, like, crazy. I just want to know where he is, because every other person that we see the Skrull turn into, we see them see a person first and being like, I'm now them, because that's how it works. But for him, we just, and that was also, a movie telling technique, how you're not supposed to realize it's the Skrull until he's like, my brother, I will avenge you, or whatever, when he whispered into the dead Skrull's ear. But it was just weird. I just wanted to know where that actual guy is, because he had to exist. And I don't, like, the Skrulls didn't seem like they were trying to hurt anybody purposely.
Okay, so this is my little theory. It probably is me giving too much credit, but at the end of the day, he gave him a communication device when he was in the autopsy room to deal with the person who was actually doing the investigation. So when he called in, he probably called into that communication device. And I don't think the overarching boss, like I was kind of getting into, if he shows up into an office and says, hey, I need a team, like, you're not going to question, you're not going to call the boss's office, you're just going to listen to him. So if he has small groups, that's cool and great and grand.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I understand totally how the Skrull is able to do everything. I get it. I just want to know where the
you just want the scene, and that's fair.
Like, no, didn't you just go? Didn't you just leave? Like, no, I've been here the whole time. Like, oh, well, they're looking for you over there. Like, there was none of that. There was just like, this guy assumed the body of the Skrull, and then no knowledge of the other two. Their paths never crossed. I don't know. It was just a weird, and it wasn't like it didn't ruin the movie for me, obviously. But when I thought about it afterwards, I'm like, yeah, what was going on with that?
That's fair.
That's it.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. It's fair. There's no reason they couldn't give us that 10 to 15 seconds, because that's all it needed.
Yeah, I just want to know.
That's
like,
like really
hoping, like, the end credits scene would like give me something like that, where he just like Casual said, maybe he'd pop out of like a closet and be like, I've been tied up in there. Why did you guys not hear me screaming? Or some dumb, stupid thing like that. Just to let me know where that guy was. That was it.
That's fair. That's fair. I think that's so easy to do.
Or like him coming back into the office with a tan and be like, man, I had a great vacation. And like, vacation? You were here all week. Dude? Yeah,
it's that simple. That's why it's like there's no reason why they couldn't give us that 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Because that's literally all it was. But
and another thing I forgot to mention was the Stan Lee cameo was really great. I loved him reading his lines in the Mallrats script, just repeating them over and over. Because I love Mallrats. That's another great movie that I enjoy. So the fact that they were like, to play off the time period, they were like, oh, this is when he would be reading. This is when he'd be working on being in Mallrats and something like that. So I enjoyed that. It was also the opening being like all Stan Lee when they did the Marvel thing. That was pretty cool.
And it was nice because it wasn't sad. You were just kind of like, in honor, and it really felt like in honor, And I hate when it's like, cool thumbs up, nobody's tearing up, action's going on, the show.
Right, and it was like humorous too because they had all his roles from the movies, and a lot of his roles are like mad silly. So it worked.
Right, and I like how they did it. So,
yeah, I agree.
So I guess we go to the conclusion, where I'm going to talk a little bit about more what you talked about earlier, which is like the movie's got mixed reviews and it doesn't deserve mixed reviews. It is an origin story, and they're telling it solely so you guys have something to go off of going in game. They don't even want to fully expose the character. Maybe there's like something cool that happens in the movie, and like Dan says, it's by design. They're purposely doing it this way for the greater good, and I'll give it to them for that. But, I still feel this way I feel,
No, I mean, I'm fine with the movie having mixed reviews. Like, not everybody is meant to like something. However, it's that a lot of the bad reviews are people who haven't seen it and are just like, this is just forwarding the libtard agenda and feminazis, ba ba beep, ba boop, ba boop. And like, it's really not that at all.
I complimented it for not being that. So
yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of the negative reviews are not really to be taken base. Like the ones that are like people who saw the movie and wrote it and wrote things about it they didn't like obviously that's a real review. But when you look at like these like user reviews, a lot of the time that's basically what it is. It's like the same thing with this movie I saw called Death Wish, which Death Wish was a very poorly timed movie because it was like glorifying AR-15s like a week after a school shooting happened. And it was just like, this movie, like at the end of the movie, he learns how to shoot a gun through YouTube. And at the end of the movie, he uses an AR-15 to like save the day. And I was like, oh boy, like that was really poorly timed. But all like the comments on it were all like, this movie doesn't care what the liberals have to say. This is a pro-gun movie and it's beautiful, blah, blah, blah. I will see this movie 50 billion times with my family to show them this is what the Second Amendment's all about. Like, dude, you're looking too much into it. It's a mediocre movie that was really poorly timed. That's all it was. Yeah. But a lot of people were just like, like so many people need to, I don't know, they take politics like everything has a political background to it. And they're just like, this was only made to brainwash me into this, or this was made to, and it's from both sides are crazy about it. And it's so silly. And like that movie received like outstandingly amazing reviews from like people who, like regular people, but critics gave it a terrible review because of the things I just said. And then like all the reviews are like 98%. This was the best gun movie ever, like whatever. And this is the opposite end of the spectrum where like it's like if you look on Rotten Tomatoes, I think it has like a user review score of like 21% or like 30% or something like that, like something real low. And if you read them, they're all like just like fuck Hillary Clinton. Like, what are you even talking about? What's that have to do with anything?
But I think it's not justified in a sense, and this is not like trying to. Oh, it's a great, awesome movie. It's more it's more of a lot of the hate that's going towards this movie. It's just people who clearly don't understand that it's, number one, an origin story. It's not a quest of them fighting their strongest battle. It is a quest to get to know that specific individual. And this is a placeholder for Endgame. It's not even really supposed to be a giant spectacle. It's, hey, we have this character that's really, really important to the story that we're telling on the overarching. We need to introduce.
Let you know who she is, so that when she does a lot of cool stuff in the next movie, you're not like, who is this person?
Where is she the whole time? Why didn't we get this movie? We get to miss all that. This is solely, hey, she's real and she's really, really strong. And it's kind of crazy not to introduce the Superman of our universe first before being like, she actually could have stopped it all from happening if they would have just called sooner. Because that's what this is probably about to be. Man, where was she? But at the same time,
like she said, she told Fury, can only use it in like super duper emergency. And maybe at first he didn't realize the scope of the whole situation until he was like, I'm in the process of turning to dust. Yeah.
What is going on? Everybody's dead.
Yeah.
And so, you really should just, if you're going to critique the movie, just understand that this is a part of a greater scheme. And the only reason that's happening is because you have to tell the story of what might potentially be the biggest hero of this universe at the moment. So that's what this movie is. It's only for them to do that. That's it. That's all the movie's there for. It's not supposed to be this fireworky explosion, anything. Right. She doesn't even have a real enemy. Nobody that can actually stand toe to toe. She just
no, not at all. Especially when she loses the chip. When she's like, I'm no chip, is game over.
You guys are done. And even the overarching bad guy in the Kree's I stand no chance, but I got a job to do because they'll kill me.
He dies later to the Guardians anyway. So
right. It's
neither here nor there.
They're gonna kill me, so I better do something.
Yeah, but he knew when to derp out. He was like, let's back out. you see her just take out those two ships? Not derp. Time to go.
Time to go. Correct. And so that's everybody. That's what it's about, and that's kind of my conclusion. Where it's I know what this movie was made for, and please chalk it up to that because that's what it is. That's what it is. That's it.
Yep.
Not some super lib agenda or anything like that. Yeah, it's just
that's the part about it. It's this is clearly the liberal media trying to brainwash me. What are you talking about? They brainwashed you 18 movies ago, you jerk.
You're still watching them, so
yeah. But anyway, reviews.
So what I'd rate it? You don't have no little tidbit to leave us on? Is that good enough?
Yeah, no, that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, I do believe you rated last time, so I'll rate this time. Sure. I give this movie about a 6.5. And if you don't know my rating scale, 5 is dead in the middle. It's exactly what it is. Out of 10, a 5 is dead in the middle. This was
a 5 for Lance is not high praise, but it is that he would be willing to watch the movie and probably a second time, but it wasn't anything crazy outstanding.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I sit. Like I said at the very end of my conclusion, it's a placeholder movie. It is there to introduce you. That's it. It's not even supposed to be anything spectacular. So me giving this rating, or that the movie this rating, isn't really the end of the world. It's as intended,
Correct.
So that's my little.
I gave it a yes. I think it's worth seeing, especially if you watch. I wouldn't watch this if you have no connection to the MCU. Don't be like. First movie I'm gonna watch, Captain Marvel, the 21st one. Let's go, baby. I wouldn't do that. That's silly. Don't do that. But
that's bad.
Technically it does kind of take place first. Well, not the first movie. Chronologically would be Captain America, but this is probably would be early chronologically, just because most of it takes place in the 90s. But anyway, my review. my score. I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5. So basically like a 7 on Lance's score, but I'm a little usually more lenient with scores. I'm usually like, I loved it. Everything gets a 10. But no, it was good. A 7.5 is not bad at all. I would definitely watch this movie again, and I plan on it. So not a bad movie by any means. And I definitely think it, like I said, if you've seen the other movies, definitely check this one out.
Yeah. It ain't no Winter Soldier. I know that much.
But yeah, so as we alluded to a little bit earlier before we leave, next week we are doing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
He can't wait.
I cannot wait.
He was so sad. I was like,
I've already seen it 4 times. And like, I asked Lance if he'd seen it, and he was like, no. And I was like, great. Well, and then we're going to watch it because I bought the Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray combo pack that also has a digital copy. So I'm sending Lance that digital copy as soon as I get it. And that way he can watch it, and I'm going to watch it. And, I mean, I hope that I'm not hyping it so much up that you're gonna like be disappointed and be like, that was all right, but it wasn't.
Ever said anything bad about it, and that's how you know a movie's good. So even if I don't like it personally, I'm probably gonna give it a good rating simply because it's an adored movie. Like you can't.
Well, I mean, and also like that's not necessarily true though. There's movies that a lot of people love. Like for example, Avatar. A lot of people love Avatar. I think Avatar is super boring. Not the show, the movie. Like the James Cameron movie.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. It wasn't a bad movie though. Like it might not.
I thought it was.
It might not have your taste, but it wasn't a bad movie.
I thought it was visually good. I thought as story, it had been done many, many times before and was kind of meh. If you ever watch Fern Gully, I thought Fern Gully was a better Avatar than Avatar was.
I haven't seen Fern Gully, but to be fair,
or Pocahontas.
Sure, that's exactly what I thought about when I saw the movie, and what makes my wife like the movie so much. She was like, "Wow, this feels very reminiscent, and I can relate to this entirely because it represents."
Like I said, I'm never gonna say like that. It's not like people like it. That's cool. Everyone's entitled to like it, but just because everyone likes it, like my review of that movie would not be favorable. It would be probably sub 5, just because everybody else likes it. I just didn't do anything for me, which is just kind of, how things work.
I mean, I can appreciate the art without actually truly enjoying it. And this is one of those situations where it's like, there's no way I can watch this movie and not be able to appreciate the art. I know I'm going to like it. So like, I'm giving it this like neutral stance, but I know I'm going to like it. It's just like, some things are just good. And even if it's not your taste, you can respect the talent that it took to make it. So a lot of old school classical art, I look at it and go, it's kind of ugly. But then you kind of watch them go through the process and go, well, actually, that took a lot of like actual talent to make. Yeah, I have to respect it. And it's one of those situations. That's all I'm trying to get at. So
I got you.
But per Dan's request, we're definitely doing Spider-Verse next week. We'll have coming up soon as well. I don't know if you're gonna do it the same way or double feature. Yeah, it's just the first, so I don't mind doing it the week after.
What, in 2 weeks is the first?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's
fine.
That'll be a good job. Also, for all them Apex fans out here, we are Money Match Gaming. Apex, the Battle Pass comes out tomorrow. I know everybody's been chomping at the bits for it. It's exciting stuff. Not really, though. I mean, the character looks interesting, but the Battle Pass is kind of underwhelming. But I'm still going to get it because I'm a sheep.
Because I'm a sheep.
Hey, I gotta accept it. I know I'm gonna get it. I know what I am. I know I'm weak. So let's just say it. Let's just call it how it is.
It's probably not weak. I think they're testing the waters. It's no different than our review you talked about, to where they're like, yo, we weren't expecting all this. Oh shit, what do we do from here? I think that's just them fixing.
Well, I mean, yeah, the first season of Fortnite was nothing to write home about. Like everything that they've released since then has been better. I mean, people will say like, oh, it was better in the game was better season 2, season 3. But as far as like cosmetics go, like the coolest looking stuff is coming out now. Even if it's not all for you, even if you're like, I prefer the Rust Lord skin from season 2. If you're gonna tell me that skin that's just a reskin Jonesy is cooler than like the Ice King or like the Lizard Man we got going on this season, or even the banana skin,
the banana skin's hilarious. I
The
laughed
bananas
so
is
hard
so
when I
good.
saw that.
I love the fact that he ripens as the game goes on.
I did
I
not
think
know
that
that.
is like the best detail ever. Yeah. Like, so he starts off kind of like greenish and he gets further yellow until like the end where he's almost like he's got like the brown dots on him and stuff.
That's pretty baller. I actually really enjoy that.
Yeah, right? I think that's so cool. Yeah. So like I said, if you're gonna say that
Like I said, let's bump it up real quick. But all right, that'll definitely do it for us. It's next week, guys. Good night. And like we said, it's the Spider-Verse, man. So until then, goodbye, friends.
Later, guys.